Welcome to Tech Tuesday. My name is Abbie Richie, and I am the tech guru at the Smarter Service. And you can find me right here talking with people who are engaged in age tech innovation. It's a great place to be, and I'm super excited to be back here with you. Last week, I was in Tokyo speaking at Age Tech X, and it was so fun. It was exhilarating. I felt honored to be there. And then immediately upon return, I was at Leading Age AZ speaking last Friday. So it's been a whirlwind, but I couldn't be happier to be serving these folks every single day. And before I introduce my guest today, I want to go ahead and run the intro. Welcome back to Tech Tuesday. I'm thrilled to bring on a new friend of mine. I have Dr. Eric Lester with us today. Welcome to Tech Tuesday, Dr. Lester.
Well, thank you for having me, Abbie, and I'm looking forward to a really neat conversation with you.
Yeah, me too. We met a couple months ago at Leading Age AZ, their spring conference in March, and we immediately hit it off because we're both tech-minded and love to talk about technology. And before we launch into all of the unique and innovative solutions you have been working on, could you please go ahead and introduce yourself to the audience?
Yes, great. Well, I started my professional career, Abbie, with the United States Army. I enlisted as a nuclear biological chemical specialist. Was very fortunate. I was stationed in a tactical satellite battalion and became fascinated with satellite communications. And that led to me leading a satellite platoon in my early 20s, about 42 personnel, $20 million worth of equipment, and deploying to Operation Enduring Freedom, Operation Iraqi Freedom. But when I returned, I was recruited out of the Army by Northrop Grumman Mission Systems. And that's when I found out I was an entrepreneur. They put me in a cubicle and I said, there has to be a better way. But while I was realizing and getting used to this corporate and government contracting world, I did notice one thing. I had deployed and I had real world experience and realized I was on a 10-year project, massive vehicle construction, and they did not talk to the user. And so I started on a journey on person-centered design.
So you started on this journey of user design. Can you tell me more about that? Because that is something that is missing from all of our technology these days, which is also expanding this digital divide, this digital gap that we have with older adults. So could you tell us about that, please?
Yeah. So as part of that military journey, I was selected to go to the U.S. Army Recruiting School, which was during a conflict, and so it was top of the line sales and marketing. I was my job was to convince someone to let me sign their son and daughter up, and so I combined that knowledge with the startup knowledge of customer discovery and developed my own way of conducting qualitative research and connecting the dots with actual people and problems to technology.
Bring us up to today, because I know that you are there. You've been piloting something so innovative at one of the communities at Waymark Gardens, and I also know that there's many other technological uses that you're using. So let's talk about today and what you're piloting at Waymark Gardens.
Yeah, absolutely, Abbie. And I'll start by I started my early work in wearable tech, and we developed a patented sensor for detecting and reporting concussions in real time. So we used a biomechanical approach uh, on top of the algorithm that deploys your car airbag. So this is technology that we see every day. It's behind the scenes. Well, we applied that to sports, and for 18 months during COVID, we were off of the field. We could not continue our user studies. So I turned to my community work and we repurposed the sensor and started looking at fall detection and fall prediction within the senior living community. And I deployed that IP that we developed, and I actually sat down and I talked to the residents, and something profound happened. They shared with me that they had already been falling, but they would not tell me as chairman of the board or the staff because we would recommend them for dependent care.
Right, right. So tell us, please, when someone falls, what the repercussions of that, what that looks like, and what the trajectory typically is.
Yeah, so what we've seen just in life and also in the medical industry, their health quickly declines after a couple of falls, and so we try to get out in front of that with our wearable tech by measuring gait, and we looking at the data. We're able to start seeing the degradation in someone's gait, and then that's when we classify them based on their balance, sway, and stability. If they're likely to start falling. And that's why we had to build the ecosystem so we can interject and try to intervene to avoid that event that spirals out of control.
It really does. In fact, I may have shared this before on the show, but my grandparents, my nana fell, and she had lived just such a healthy, vibrant life and active lifestyle until the day she fell. After that point, it became a quick decline of her health. She was in the hospital, she was in surgery, she was in rehab, then assisted living, then nursing care, and this all happened within like a 7 month period of time. It was a quick decline. Is that what you have found as well, that falls unprevented will quickly lead to demise?
Yes, we see it as our residents are at our facility. We have 150 independent residents, 62 and up. So fall is critical. And so I'm a portfolio entrepreneur. So automatically I had this wearable tech, but that wasn't even enough. So we had to start building the ecosystem to not only look at when our residents are wearing a wearable, but we had to allow our infrastructure to talk to us, to communicate. That infrastructure interacts with our residents and gives us that data that we need to be proactive and do something about it.
100%. Dr. Eric, so I want to ask you, you've mentioned being an entrepreneur a couple of times, and I'm fascinated by that also in regards to, folks that start innovations for older adults, right? And so I'd love to hear more about that and how you bring that to, say, the telemedicine suite at Waymark Gardens.
Yeah, Abbie. So it started out with what we call the sandwich generation. So as
Okay,
we
sign
were,
me up. I'm there.
yeah. So as we were looking at the technology for youth sports and detecting concussions, we quickly found, not quickly, not so quite. It was after about 500 interviews, but we
Okay.
found out that mom was the actual customer. She was concerned. She wanted that information right away. And oddly enough, throughout the journey, when we started to look at the senior living space, we found everything pointed right back to the same mom who has 2 to 3 youth sports players and 2 to 3 active adults, and they all call on mom. And so we really rallied the team, all of the technology around that, and that's been our guiding force to really develop the technology to meet the needs of someone that's inundated with information.
You're speaking directly to me, aren't you? Like, I feel like I've got 2 teenagers and I have 3 older adults too. Like, you're directly speaking to me. So what type of technology then makes it easier for someone like me?
Well, first of all, we learned the hard way as we were doing customer interviews. We had to learn to not lead with the technology. So it really
Yes.
wasn't about the technology. We had to really talk to mom and understand it. So we had to leave the sensors at home because those first couple of interviews, when we pulled out the sensor, most moms were saying, "Yeah, I know a lot about concussions," but when we took the sensors away, they asked, "Tell me more." And then we really got to true stories, and we got to see that pain and that angst that mom exhibited. And then when we turned to the senior living space, we found out that our residents, they call mom when they change their medications, when they almost fall, when they need the transportation. They're calling their sons when they need financial, and it's just a strange dynamic, but it's just throughout history and the generations. But we've looked at it very close, and needless to say, I've had to remove my bias while we're doing this research and deploying because everyone walks in, professional researchers with this certain bias, and you have to take it away. And I often say I just simply listen to my elders when it comes to the seniors. They told me what they needed.
Yes, I love how you say that you really have to listen. You really have to fall in love with the person you're serving more so than your technology, right? Because the more you understand what the person you're serving needs, the more refined and appropriate and popular and useful your technology will be. Don't you think?
Oh, absolutely. And I had to really get over myself as I was building a telemedicine suite to address transportation. But as we continued to listen, the telemedicine suite evolved. It turned into a multi specialty clinic because I had a resident while we were interviewing a psych MP. The resident chimed in and said, "Hey, I don't need any help taking my blood pressure." And it crushed the whole room. We were like, well, maybe we're building the wrong thing. But we continued the interview, and the psych MP had mentioned depression. And that
Mm,
same resident chimed in and said, "Oh, I do need to talk to someone." And so
yes.
that has helped us evolve the technology.
I want to back up just a minute because you mentioned that you started it because of a transportation situation. Could you explain that, please?
Yeah, it starts with peeling the onion back. When
Okay.
we call that town hall, problem number one was falls. Problem number two was transportation. And so we were surprised. We have a community vehicle. Our residents have vehicles. They have the sandwich generation that picks them up. But after observing, we realized that it was a production show for our residents to make a 30-minute doctor's appointment. They always get dressed up. It's a 4 to 5 hour effort. So that's the part of transportation that they were concerned about. And so
Okay.
that we brought the medical clinic to them.
Okay. So you created a medical clinic to offset the transportation issue. And so tell us, like, take us inside this medical clinic and this suite. What does it look like? And if you have any pictures or anything like that, show us that because I would like our viewers to understand really and truly the how special the suite is.
Great. Yep. And I'll just share a quick slide here.
And while you're doing that, because Doctor is here in Phoenix, he invited me out to look at the telemedicine suite, and I had a chance to go there and view it myself, and I was just blown away with how much more detail there is in the suite than I had ever anticipated. So, I mean, I was just thinking it was going to be a clinic here or there or something like that, but there was. So much more, and I'd love for you to talk about that.
Yes. Yep. It looks like I'm going to have to upload the slides. So we'll work on that behind the scenes here.
Okay.
Um,
All right.
so what we essentially did with the clinic is we continued to talk to our residents, and that insight that we gained led to us building a ecosystem, so to say. So problem number one is we had an issue with the infrastructure. And so as we started to address that, we we actually ran fiber to all 150 apartments.
Well done.
Because,
Well
yes,
done.
it was
Yeah.
so much data that we can glean from our residents, and we made them a part of the process. So we conduct 3 to 4 research projects a year out at the site, and the residents they're enthused. They love the interaction, and that gives me a way to take this qualitative approach and spread my tentacles. I often teach the students that we deploy, and they are excellent at capturing that observational data and those in-person interviews so that we create themes. So after we addressed the infrastructure issue, we started to build out this telemedicine suite to address transportation. We initially started looking at chronic care management and realized that there was an opportunity for remote patient monitoring. So it slowly started to build like a modular ecosystem, and it was literally based on the needs of our residents.
So, how big is a suite and what's contained in inside?
Great. So the suite is about 800 square feet, and inside you have your normal. It looks like a normal clinic with a large monitor. That came from the residents. All the residents said, "Hey, if I'm going to talk to a physician, I don't want to talk to them on the iPad. I want to feel like they're in the room." And one additional insight is we included in every telemedicine suite a medical assistant. So we knew we could not rip away the in person interaction. And so that medical assistant is vital to help our residents navigate and also take their vitals and draw blood if needed.
Okay, so a resident comes to the telemedicine suite, they have an appointment, and the medical assistant's there. The medical assistant runs all the vitals, gets them situated, and then ready to see the doctor, right?
Correct.
And is it their doctor or who are they seeing?
No, we had to learn that the hard way. So
Okay.
me and my infinite wisdom, the
Okay.
model was originally we were going to try to take over his primary care, but again, after having a candid conversation with our residents, I had a resident that says, "You're not taking over my primary care. I've been with my primary care for 15 years."
Uh,
So we had to rely on technology. We had to turn to our electronic health record so that we can be the in between on appointments with the primary care provider.
okay, yes, I understand. I've helped so many clients over the years get that Zoom ready so that they could take their appointment. So, but you're doing that and you're getting that ready so that their primary care physician can be available for their appointment, right?
Correct. Yep.
Okay, so we set the scene, the doctor's ready, and then what makes this suite different, say, from just doing it at home? I mean, you talked about the screen being much larger, and it's like a 76-inch screen or something, or how big is it?
It's 75 inches.
Right on. Okay,
Yeah.
good guess there. So, okay, so we've got 75-inch screen on it, and the patient is sitting in a comfortable chair, right?
Yeah.
And
Yes.
then and the medical assistant is in there. And then is there room for, a spouse or mom to be in there as well?
Yes, absolutely. There's plenty of room for the support team for our residents. Um, Most importantly, is that as this evolved, we really started to connect the dots for our medical community. So our discovery and qualitative research didn't stop at the resident. So when I say literally our infrastructure talks, we're collecting that data and making it a part of the medical record of our residents. So if we are capturing blood pressure every day, that now becomes a part of the historical data that our primary care providers, that our behavioral health, they're able to look at this data. And most exciting is that our residents actually wanted to see the data. They wanted to sit in the telemedicine room and they want to see their data. They want to look at the last 3 months of blood pressure.
Awesome, awesome. And so, where I thought you were headed was I thought you were going to start talking about the VA as well. But then, and so I'd love to hear more about that. But I'd like to also hear about how you plan on expanding this out, on creating another suite, maybe in another location.
Yeah, and a part of that is the VA. So I spent about 3 years designing this out, and it's been very liquid as far as it's modular enough to so we could take this feedback loop to constantly improve to actually meet the needs of our residents. So I often say this flips healthcare upside down because it's not dictated by the medical practice. Our residents dictate what type of specialties they see. And so a big confirmation for us was when we were awarded the VA contract for remote patient monitoring that covers for the next 8 years. And so when the largest healthcare provider in the world is requesting to build what we've just demonstrated, we're pretty ecstatic about that. And so when we invite our neighbor communities over, I had the ideal of using our community van to transport their residents to come and participate in a telehealth visit. But their board and management team, they said, no, we want this suite in our facility. And so that's the way it was designed. And so they'll get a telemedicine suite with their medical assistant and tied into the sustainable model that we've built.
I love it. I love it. So if an operator is watching right now and would like to incorporate this, what does that incur? I mean, can you give us some numbers, some budget, some timeframes, anything like that?
Yeah, we still are working on final prices, but there is an upfront cost for the initial equipment. As I stated, we are a multi-specialty clinic, so we had to meet the needs of our residents. So we are credentialed, and we have payers such as United Healthcare, TRICARE, and so that's part of the solution, and that's what makes it sustainable. This will cover low income to market rate environments because our residents, it's like going to their in-person doctor. It's going to cover their or it's going to be covered by their Medicare and Medicaid. So
And
pricing
yeah,
will be available for the suite, but we anticipate every suite being custom to the site. So
custom, but at the same time also containing a lot of the same elements like the TV screen, the comfortable chairs, the medical assistant, and the extra seating, right?
yes.
Okay. And so how long would it take for you to install something like that at a community?
After a site visit, it would take approximately 4 days to get the clinic up and running.
Amazing. Wow, that's so fast. I did not expect, I thought you were going to say 4 to 6 weeks. So, okay, great, great, great. And then, and you did say that some of it does get covered by insurance, but can you give us a ballpark price on it?
A ballpark price, I would say around $75,000, but that depends on the site itself and how much modification is required for the room that you want to install the telemedicine clinic.
Excellent. Thank you for saying that. As people are always wondering. And now I want to know, what's your future plan like? And if you're going to, cast your vision and everything goes to plan, what does that look like for the telemedicine suite growth?
Yeah, so we anticipate getting a large number of senior living facilities to adopt this and branching out. For example, we're working with the city of Phoenix and the Central Arizona Shelter Services now. They've recently renovated a hotel that's going to house 170 homeless seniors. And so we will be providing those medical services, those vital services. And since we built such a robust ecosystem, not only are we going to be able to provide that chronic care management, remote patient monitoring, but also what's vital is that behavioral health and psychiatry appointments. So we're really excited about the scalability of the platform, but most importantly, the sustainability. When I say we look and talk with the residents, we also talk to many community leaders that have established these community clinics. And what we found is many of those clinics failed because they did not build that sustainable model. So after the grant funding ran out, they had to close the clinic. And so we're structured to be more resilient and to provide this vital information that's ultimately going to keep those independent residents independent longer.
Yeah, I love that. I love that. With just a couple of minutes left, is there anything else regarding technology that you're seeing, you're using, or you want to start using that you'd like to share with the audience?
Yeah. So as part of the infrastructure upgrade, uh, we we, um, we were able to do something unique here. So considering that we installed fiber throughout a 150 unit site, we put Amazon Alexa in every apartment. And so Amazon Alexa is the heartbeat of the infrastructure, as our residents from the comfort of their own home can book this telemedicine visit and get the reminders that they have an appointment. So this is vital, and again, we've built it into the infrastructure. So when Miss Johnson wakes up at 3 o'clock in the morning to go and use the restroom, Amazon wakes up with the protocols that we've gathered and programmed from our nurses, our nursing collaborators, and says, Miss Johnson, can you wait 3 to 5 seconds before you actually start to walk to the restroom? And the Amazon Alexa also uh, is incorporated with the smart lighting. So we illuminate the way to the restroom. So we're excited about how all of these technologies come together and create this senior living 2.0 is what we're calling it, and just being a resource for our residents to lean on. One of the big things about that infrastructure that we're really proud about, many of our residents were they're low income and they were paying close to $120 a month for the cable and Wi-Fi. By consolidating that, we were able to get services down to about $55 a month. And at a break-even point, this income will actually start generating revenue for the site. So future enhancements can be deployed.
I love what you're doing. I'm just like giddy with excitement for all that you're doing. You are helping so many people on so many different levels in such a smart way. And it's people like you who make this space just so innovative and interesting. So I just want to thank you for that. And how can people get in touch with you?
Yes, the best way is my main point is LinkedIn. If you go to LinkedIn, that'll take you to every website. Again, I'm a portfolio entrepreneur, so I have the technology, we have the senior living space, but we bring it all together under one roof under one portfolio, because the main goal is to impact the residents, and hope to push this into the entrepreneur community because it's so fulfilling. I'll tell you, when our residents finally walked into the telemedicine room, I had a resident with tears in her eyes, and she looked at me and she said, I thought we were forgotten about. We didn't think anyone was doing anything for us. And that was the payday. That was worth more than any VC capital raise, profit margin. That was golden for me.
Love it. I love it. Thank you so much, Dr. Lester, for being with us today. And thank you in our audience for your comments and your chat and your participation. We are so appreciative of that. And with that, I'm going to bid you all goodbye, and we'll see you here next week.